Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm celebrating 350 subscribers. Thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, please do so. It really helps the channel. But thank you to all my regular subscribers. Thanks for your fantastic support and your wonderful comments. I enjoy seeing them all and answering them all. I try to answer all of them, but sometimes YouTube hides them from me and I have to go looking for them. So if I haven't answered your comment, that's probably the reason. But thank you anyway for your continued support. Now, regular subscribers know that on this channel I have a tradition. If I reach a landmark like 350, I do a silly nostalgia video. And today is one of the silliest. But I want to talk to you about a strange phenomenon that I've noticed. And that is, when you were a kid and you were a teenager, there were foods that you never heard of, and now they're everywhere, and everyone eats them all the time. Have you noticed this? It's like some kind of weird alien invasion, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where, it appears on a menu one day and you think nothing of it, and then suddenly everyone is eating it. It's like a slow alien invasion. Exhibit A is salted caramel. I'd never heard of salted caramel till about 6 years ago. Now it's in everything. There's salted caramel tarts, there's salted caramel chocolate buttons, there's salted caramel desserts. Everything is salted caramel. I remember when someone first told me that there was salted caramel, I thought, you what? You've put salt in caramel? You bastard! Why? I like caramel, it's nice. Why have you put salt in it? Then I tasted it and it was delicious. But I don't understand why it's so delicious that it has now kind of absorbed every other sweet in sight. It's very strange. Another one that I've noticed, I don't know if you've ever come across this, is Anduja Sausage. N-D-U-J-A. Now, about 4 years ago, I was in a restaurant, I think it was Bill's, one of those chain restaurants, and it said Anduja Sausage on the menu, a sort of spicy sausage from Italy. So I thought, I'll try that, and it was very nice, and it was quite hot. And then suddenly, it was on every menu. And suddenly it was in everything. It was in pies, it was in bakes, I've got a pizza in the fridge with Anduja sausage on it. Where did it come from? Did we suddenly get a great big job lot arriving from Italy and now we've got to use it up? Where did Anduja sausage come from? Another of the great food phenomenons in Britain, I don't know if this is across the West, but certainly in Britain, is a chain restaurant called Nandos. Have you heard of Nandos? In Britain, it's an obsession. I have friends and work colleagues say, oh, I love Nandos. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's almost like they've had some kind of cosmic ray beamed into their minds. I must go to Nandos. I love Nandos. I want Nandos. But you know what Nandos is? It's chicken and chips. It's just chicken and chips on a plate. But there's a secret ingredient. A secret ingredient that I'd never heard of before Nando's came along. And it's called peri sauce. Right? And apparently now you cannot have chicken without peri sauce. I've had peri sauce and it's crap. And I can't stand the taste of it. It ruins the taste of the chicken. But it's an obsession. People love it. It's everywhere now. Where did it come from? It's supposed to be Portuguese. I've been to Portugal, I've been to Lisbon. I didn't see peri sauce. Another phenomenon. When I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, and obviously I didn't drink. I don't drink much now. But my parents did, and I knew what was on the spirits tray, all those bottles, all those exciting, strange bottles. I never ever saw my parents ever drink Prosecco. Did you ever drink Prosecco when it was your birthday, or when it was weddings or anniversaries or Christmas? I never saw it. Now it's everywhere. Every single celebration of any kind, there's a bottle of Prosecco. Let's get the Prosecco out. People have cinema and Prosecco evenings where they get a glass of Prosecco and they watch their favourite film. Lovely. It's just everywhere. When did it start? Was it always around and did I just miss it? Or is it some kind of modern phenomenon seeping into our consciousness? I grew up in a fairly conservative household. My mum cooked most of the meals. My dad didn't cook anything. He couldn't boil an egg. And she was a good cook, and she cooked all the sort of classic English staples. including the odd sort of exotic foreign dish that most English people used to eat. So, for example, there was spaghetti bolognese, and there was also a dish that's vanished. No one talks about it anymore. And that dish was English curry. Yes, English curry. It doesn't. No one talks about it anymore. You know, the Indian food is now popular across the whole country, but a lot of people used to eat English curry. And what it was, you got curry paste, and you didn't use very much because you didn't want your curry to be hot and spicy. But you didn't use very much. You put a little bit of curry paste, and you put in the rice, and then you added things like apples and sultanas in a curry. We thought it was delicious. It was great. I used to like English curry. No one makes it anymore. No one talks about it. So I grew up in this kind of household, And at the age of 18, I went out into the wide world. And I discovered that there was something called coriander. And it was in everything. It was in every curry. It was in every stew, every casserole. Even little garnish of the leaves on top of everything that you ate. It was in everything. Want some coriander in your burger, sir? No, I don't. I don't like coriander. It kills the flavour of everything else in the dish. But I found I was in a world where coriander was like everywhere. And everyone had to eat it all the time. Did you feel that way? Did you eat coriander when you were younger? Did you know about it? For me, it was this kind of mysterious thing. And I'm going to finish this video, my friends, by telling you something that might alarm you. And that is this. British history has been changed, not reappraised. It's been actually changed. You might be suffering from an illusion. That illusion is under the name sticky toffee pudding. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Had you heard of sticky toffee pudding when you were a kid? Did your mum serve it up to you? Did you get it in school dinners? Did you see it on restaurant menus? You think you did. I'm telling you now, there was no such thing. I know my puddings, right? I love puddings. There was treacle sponge, there was jam sponge, jam roly-poly, spotted dick, bread and butter pudding. I never had sticky toffee pudding when I was a kid. I know. It's a conspiracy. This is my conspiracy theory. We've been duped and told that this was a traditional pudding. I don't think it was at all. I think it's a middle-class invention. It came along with gastropubs and middle-class eateries, like, oh yeah, when we go up to the Lake District, Crispin loves his sticky toffee pudding. We didn't eat sticky toffee pudding. I didn't know anything about it. I'm telling you now, it's a conspiracy. It's not a traditional British pudding. We've been duped. They're playing with our minds.